Hello, I'm Shazza and this is Hooked on Books, and today I'm going to be talking about the coolest fucking readathon that I've come across in ages. This is the O.W.L's readathon, Harry Potter inspired. I'm going to link all the details in the description box. But basically, you choose a career in the Harry Potter wizarding world. There's a whole document you can look through, and in that document it tells you what subjects you need to study in order to get that career. So, I have decided to be a healer. However, that has resulted in me ending up needing to study quite a few subjects. In other words, read several books in a month that I might not quite get to. So if the healer thing doesn't work out, then I'll just be a fucking herbologist or something. Anyway, I decided to be a healer, so I'm going to tell you what the subject is, what the prompt is, and what the book is I'm going to read for it. Let's go. So the first subject I have to study is herbology, and the prompt for that one is to read a book with a plant on the cover, and I've got two options for this. The first of which is The Faculty of Dreams, which is currently longlisted for the Man Booker International Prize, and it's got this little rose in the front. It's translated from the Swedish, and it's basically about the woman that wrote the Scum Manifesto and shot Andy Warhol, but it's this sort of it's not quite a fictionalised account. Basically, the author was inspired by this lady and her story, and she's created a sort of fantasy world based on this woman. So really intrigued by this one of the ones that I was most interested in on the list, and it fits the prompt for herbology. The second option for this one was wilding. So this is a non-fiction sort of nature writing book, and it's basically what I know of this is that it's looking at nature and the human impact on nature in Britain. That's all I can really tell you. I know that it sold really well when it was hardback, and it was tremendously popular. I saw it sort of on BookTube a few times as well. I'm probably more inclined to pick this one up, but if I'm feeling like being really extra, then I might read this one as well. The next subject for me to study is Defence Against the Dark Arts, which the prompt for that one is to read a book that begins with R. Now, out of the hundreds of books I own, I could only find two, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, this is going to be easy, there's bound to be tons of books beginning with R. Apparently not. So I've got two options, the first of which is this one. So this is a collection of stories, I believe Japanese stories. I really love the design of these books. These are the Penguin Deluxe editions, and I absolutely love them. So I don't really know much more about this other than it's a collection of Japanese short stories, and it's really nicely designed. And then the second option is Ready Player One, which I never got to whenever the hype was kind of big. I did buy it, and I haven't really felt overly inclined to pick it up. Maybe I will, maybe this is a good excuse to give it a go. All I really know of this is that it's quite geeky, uses a lot of sort of pop culture references, it's kind of very virtual reality-like. Could be entirely wrong, but that's kind of what the impression I've got of it so far. So I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to read. I may well choose an audiobook instead, but those are two books that I have as current options. The next subject is potions, in which you need to read a sequel, and I've been kind of slowly but surely making my way through the Terry Pratchett Discworld series in publication order, so I've decided to read the next one in that, which is the Wyrd Sisters. So this is one of the ones that's kind of based on the witches. So, you know, if you don't know, there's kind of the Discworld, you kind of have a sort of series almost within series, and this is one of the witch based ones. So I'm quite excited to get another Terry Pratchett in. I just find them really good fun, really sort of enjoyable. They're the kind of books that I just feel really relaxed and I can kind of cozy up and read and enjoy it. So looking forward to reading that one. The next subject is Transfiguration, in which you need to read a book with sprayed edges or with a red cover. Now, I don't have any books with sprayed edges. It doesn't particularly appeal to me, to be honest. So I'm going to cheat in this one, and I'm going to read a book that isn't quite red, but it will do. Basically, it's got a red spine, so I'm counting it, and I was in the middle of reading this a couple of weeks ago, and I really want to get back to it because I was really enjoying it. This is very sort of A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, so if you like that, you'd love this. And this is Do You Dream of Terra 2, which is basically about a group of young people that are going to get sent to explore Terra 2. It's going to take them like 30 odd years to get there. It's very character focused. It's very intriguing to think about how a good significant chunk of their life is going to be spent going to space. So I was really enjoying this one. Therefore, I'm going to count this red spine as a red cover. The final compulsory subject that I have to study is Charms, on which you need to read an adult book. As these are all adult books, I'm kind of counting them all, but I may throw in an extra one should I have time, so I don't have anything specific for that subject. And then finally, you get to choose 3 subjects of your choice. The first subject I've decided to choose is History of Magic, in which you need to read a book that was published at least 10 years ago, and I've decided to go for Perfume, which was published back in 1987, and this was translated from the German. I really want to read this, especially because a TV series on Netflix has come out, and I've kind of always really loved this little edition. I've always seen it in bookshops all the time, and I've always been kind of drawn to it, and I know a lot of people that really love this one as well. So what I know of this really is it's kind of like a creepy crime thrillery literary book about that kind of looks at like the sense of smell comes into it a lot, so the senses come into it a lot. I think that it's meant to be very well written. That's all I can really tell you. The second subject I've decided to choose is Care of Magical Creatures, in which you read a book with a land animal on it. So I've got three options here, the first of which is feral. Now this I think is probably somewhat similar to what I said about this one, in that it's kind of looking at human influence on nature, what is wild, what is the landscape, who owns the landscape, that kind of thing. I think it is answering all those sort of questions. I know a lot of people that really love this, and I really love the kind of photographic image on the front there. I think that is really sort of illustrative of what this book is probably going to be like. The second option is Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are? And this has got an elephant on the front. I've had this book for years, or what feels like years. I don't know, when did it come out? 2 years ago? I'm not sure. Anyway, I've had it for ages, and I think I got this is an advanced copy as well. Basically, it's kind of looking at the intelligence of animals. My third option is The Natural History of Dragons. Now, I don't know if you can say that a dragon is a land animal, but I'm going to argue that it is. I know that kind of Eastern and Western ideas of dragons are slightly different. Eastern ideas, according to Wikipedia anyway, they weren't depicted with wings and stuff, so I'm just going to say it's a land animal. I don't know a huge amount about this, but I remember being excited because I felt like it was going to be fantasy based, but it's going to have this sort of more historical sciencey kind of feel to it as well. It says in the front, A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent. So I'm intrigued if it's written in a kind of memoir-esque type way. Anyway, yeah, I just think it looks cool from the cover, and I remember being excited about it when I picked it up. Anyway, that's my final choice for that. And then for the third subject, I haven't quite decided yet. I haven't quite figured it out. So you're just going to have to wait and see what I decide to study, because at this point I really don't know, and that's a lot of books already. So like I said, if the whole healer thing doesn't work out, then I'm just going to say fuck it, I'm going to be a herbologist.